We're going to get started right now on the distance formula. And the distance formula is related to the Pythagorean theorem. So a squared plus b squared equals c squared. The leg length squared plus the leg length squared equals the hypotenuse squared. The distance formula is basically you're taking the square root of both sides, where your c is your distance. And it's the square root of the sum of the other two lengths squared. So if we have 2 points, and I'll just come over here, x1, y1, and x2, y2, to find the distance equals the square root of, you're going to insert your 0.2 values here, and then you're going to subtract your 0.1 values. Then once you do your subtraction, you square it, add them together, and take the square root. You have to make sure if you have a negative value, when it's x2 minus x1, that would become an x2 plus if your x1 were negative. So let's get started on this first example here. We want to find the distance between the points 1, 2, and negative 3, 0. I made a little sketch here of what that would look like. I want to just show how the Pythagorean theorem comes into play a little bit. If I were to get the coordinates for this point here, the x value would be the same as the point right above it. The height would be the same as that point negative 3, 0. So this point would be 1, 0. So if I were doing the Pythagorean theorem, I would need how long this leg is, which is 2. I'm just going to write that in there. And how long is this other leg? Negative 3 to 1 would be 4. And then I could find the hypotenuse. Just pay attention to this 2 and 4 here, because it sort of will come into play as we use our distance formula. Okay, so distance is equal to the square root of x2 minus x1. Oops, let me make that one a little bit better. Plus y2 minus y1. Okay, so I'm just going to plug in my values. Doesn't matter what you call your point 1 and 2. I'm just going to go call this 1 first. So that's negative 3 minus 1 plus 0 minus 2. Negative 3 minus 1 is a negative 4. And 0 minus 2 is a negative 2. So we have a negative 4 and a negative 2 now. If I had named my points differently, I would have a positive 4 and a positive 2. Those are these lengths here of my legs. Okay, so now I'm going to go ahead and square those. So I get 16 plus 4, which equals the square root of 20. 20 is the same as 4 times 5, so my distance is 2 root 5. Another example, this one just involves some radicals, so the distance equals x2. So why don't I use this as my x2? I'll just go left point will be my second point. So 2 root 5 minus 3 root 5 plus negative 3 root 6 minus 4 root 6. I get a negative 1 root 5, and this is going to be a negative 7 root 6. Now we have to be careful when we're squaring those. You're going to square that negative 1, get positive 1. Square the root 5, which is 5. So that's going to be 5 plus square the negative 7, which is 49. Square the root 6, which is 6. 49 times 6 is 294. Now we'll add that together. So we get the distance is equal to the square root of 299.